Come here. Come on. Good, good. Come on. Keep going. Keep going, champ. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Guys, I mean, I'm controlling a car from a key. It's crazy. And stop. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Hyundai Sonata. This actually looks really, really good in person. I saw the pictures and I wasn't so sure, but seeing it in person, it actually has a really solid road presence. But as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Sonata, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A big shout out and thank you to Ken Garf Hyundai here in Southtown, Utah for providing us with the Sonata. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description below. If you're in the market for new Hyundai, check them out. Let's get into the video. So under the hood here of the Sonata, we have a turbocharged 1.6 liter that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 27 around town and then 36 on the highway, with power outputs being 180 horsepower and then 195 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over things on the front end of the Sonata. Let's start at the hood first and foremost. So you can see that you've got kind of this like muscular line down the center of the hood, and then you've got these cool lines. We'll go over like the entirety of them because they go around the whole car pretty much. But we've got these cool lines that come through the hood, and then they connect with the LED accent lights that come down here. You can see the little lights in there. It's just so cool, all of the accenting here on the Sonata. You got the Hyundai logo in the center. Everything's blacked out here. You actually do get little parking sensors on the front of it. But just how they've like sloped this hood down, it makes it look a lot longer than it is, because you can see here from the side, it's not a super long hood, but when you look at it from a front angle, it makes it look a whole lot longer, which makes the car look a whole lot sportier. So we're gonna come around the side here to look at the rims. We've got two 35mm tires on 18-inch rims in the back here. I really like the design on them, the little silver inserts they've done. Definitely a very nice touch here on the Sonata. You can see the little reflector on the side right there. You got the mirrors up top. And then like I said, this body line, you can see it starts right, you got the LED light right there, and then you got this line that continues, and you can see it goes up, obviously around, but then it also kind of continues all the way down the side of the car, all the way to the back. So you have this gigantic continuous line over almost the entirety of the car. And then I just want to give you guys a side view on the Sonata. So here's the key fob of the Sonata, and it's got some crazy functions on it. So you got your regular lock and unlock, you got your trunk release, your remote start, and then you have this where you can actually move the car forward and backwards. So if you're in like a tight parking space, you move the car forward and backwards and all that. But let's do the remote start first. So obviously we're gonna lock the car, and then you hold down the remote start function on it, and then it'll start right up. You can see all that coming out of the back. Obviously if you press it again, that'll turn it off, but we obviously have to play with the forward and backwards function. So I kind of played with the function for a while and I couldn't really figure it out. So like I locked the car right, and then I held down the remote start function. So then it's turned on, and then I press the button obviously to make it go forward, thinking that it's going to go forward, and then it just keeps like blinking at me. So I'm obviously doing something wrong. Please let me know in the comment section down below obviously what I'm doing wrong. But yeah, it still has that function, which is pretty cool, and obviously you've got to shut it back off. So now the next function is the tailgate release, and at least I worked this properly, so now I look a little bit less stupid than I already am. And we can pop into the rear here. You got this little net in the back, and then you can see the floor mats back here. Storage space is actually really good, and it looks like you can fold down the seats 60-40 split in the back. Nothing too crazy back here other than that though. And if we pull the trunk down, just goes like a regular trunk. Finish things up in the rear. You've got the Hyundai logo on the back right there. It says Sonata on the back, and then you got the lights here. So you got the lights there, and then it looks like it goes to a full light bar, but it doesn't look like that part actually illuminates when I actually turn on the lights, but then it is really bright outside, so it's kind of hard to tell. Reflectors just down below, and then you got kind of like the little rear diffuser setup, and then you got these little things up here which obviously are covered in snow because it snowed yesterday. You can kind of see there's these little interesting things at the top. Not exactly sure what those are for, but they at least look cool. And then here's one more view at the rear. Now coming to the rear of the Sonata, you can see that we've got this body line that kind of continues all the way to the door handle. It's a pretty nice little touch. Kind of got some padding up here, and then you got some nicer leather trim with the stitching down here and also down below. Window control, and then you have the seats here in the back of the Sonata. And then again, you can see you've got these nice kind of like perforations on the leather. You got this little cup holder that pulls out in the center, and then you got some vents for the rear passengers, and then a little USB down below. And then here's just kind of one more look at the rear. Now coming around to the front of the Sonata, we can see again we've got more of that trim that goes all the way to the door handle. Really cool look with that. Again, more of the leather with the stitching. Window controls right there, you've got your mirror controls. And then we have the seats over here in the front of the Sonata. You've got the headrest up there at the top, obviously, and then you got the rest of the seat. Really nice on the bolsters and the leather and the stitching. All that actually looks and feels really nice. You got your seat controls right there to the side. Pedal layout just down below. Got a little hood latch right there. And then coming over here, we've got our stability control. You've got that for your trunk, your parking brake. That's your lane departure assistance. And then the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable. And here's just one more look at the front before we pop in. Now to start up the Sonata, put your front on the brake, push seat, push start. And then the gauges will kind of do this little swirly thing and then come to life. I think it's a really cool animation. So here's the steering wheel in the Sonata. We can zoom in. We've got the Hyundai logo in the center. You got your steering assist here, your adaptive cruise control. On the other side, your little pages button for the center stack. We'll get into that in a minute. You got your little paddle shifter to shift the gears yourself. You can see the nice stitching on the steering wheel. And you got this cool like trim at the bottom of the steering wheel. You got your phone controls over here with the voice commands. The other paddle, that is the stock for the lights and the turn signal, and that's the stock for the windshield wipers. So pretty standard setup, and I actually like the feel and look of the steering wheel. It's very unique. Now we've got our center gauge cluster here. So we've got speed on the left side, on the right side we've got the RPMs, and it's kind of cool how the tach actually looks. So you can see as I'm revving it just a little bit how the tach moves. It's a pretty cool look. But there's a couple different menus that you can kind of scroll through on this, just give you different bits of information on the car. And yes, it did say drive mode, so the drive mode select is actually just down here, but we'll go over that again in a minute. But you can see the different modes when I go into it. It explodes when you go into sport mode. You've got the custom. I just really like the graphics on this car. It definitely is way different. That sport is definitely cool. It's just boom, it's like electricity and then it goes red. That is a really cool look for the car. So we have the center display screen right here, and they've got these buttons on the side, which are kind of like buttons on the touch screen, similar to like what you have in an iPhone, is just how they feel. But you've got like the little radio dial here on the side. Everything that you press happens pretty quickly on this. It's just pretty much instantaneous. And then obviously I can turn all the media off and such on the infotainment system, but I feel like overall it's super easy to use and I really have no complaints about it. It's just a good infotainment system. But now if I pop it in reverse, this is the cool part. You got the backup camera, so you got like a regular backup camera with the trajectory lines, and you get the bird's eye view. And you can see that the lines, as I'm turning, it shows on the bird's eye view. And then you've got the camera right at the back, and then you got side camera, and then you can see I can change the brightness on it, which is a pretty cool little touch. And then I've got the camera there at the front as well. So, oh sorry, that's the backup camera. What I meant is when I go to drive, then it pops up the camera in the front, so you can see as I'm going forward, it shows me where I'm going. So, I mean, this car, just from a parking standpoint, exceptionally easy. We've got our little vents here with the hazard light in the middle. Analog controls for the climate controls. You can see you've got a heated steering wheel. You have heated and cooled seats, so it's this little dial, so you press it up for the heat, and then you can press it down for the cooled function. It's the same button, so you can't have them both on at the same time, but most cars don't let you do that anyways. It is a dual zone climate. You've got a couple charging stations down here in this little area, and then it looks like we've got the wireless charging pad as well. This is the gear selector, so it is a button selector, so you can see park, and then I got like reverse, neutral, drive. It's just all done by the little buttons right there. And then this is your parking sensor, turn them on or off, your camera system, so you can have that view or not, your drive mode select, auto hold, and then this is obviously the parking assistance and all that, so to turn it on or off. So once I have it on, now I can actually use the key fob. So after this, we're gonna pop outside and then I'm gonna try it again. So I've got it turned on, so hopefully it'll work this time. Anyways, we've got the center console right here, and we can open this up. You can see that we've got plenty of storage space right there, and then we've got a couple of the cup holders, and this actually feels really, really nice, by the way. Now I've got the nice stitching here on the dash, and then you can see that we've got the glove box just down here, and we've got this nice silver trim that kind of wraps around the whole front of the dash in the car, which is a nice little touch. Now I've got the headliner up here. Do get a full panoramic sunroof, lets a ton of light into the cabin. You've got your light controls up here, and other than that, things are pretty standard up top. There's nothing too crazy other than the fact that it's got a massive sunroof. Well, we actually have a window sticker to show here. So we can see 2020 Hyundai Sonata Limited. We can see that it has all of these particular options on it. I'm noticing that everything's pretty much standard equipment on the car, which is really solid. The only thing that's added here, it says carpeted floor mats, cargo net, and I mean, all that's just a couple $100. So most everything is pretty much standard equipment on the car, which is going to be really good. It's going to help out, obviously, with resale because options don't hold their value as much. And then you see the fuel economy over there. Here is the total price right there, MSRP, before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, though, before we take it out, I'm going to go play with the parking system now and see if I can figure that out. But then we'll drive it. So I think I've finally figured out the parking system. So I've got to just hold this button down. And I turn that system on, so now as I hold it down, you can see now that it'll do the little reversing, and it's super slow. And then obviously once I release the button, it actually stops the car. And then I can do the same thing with going forward on it. So just have to hold it down, takes a second. And so then obviously getting in and out of parking space, it'll make it a whole lot easier. But it's weird that I'm driving a car, but then also using the key fob. It's just a different experience, but that is super cool. So before we set off in the 2020 Sonata, let's talk about visibility. You can see visibility over the hood is actually really easy to see, and I suspect it's because the hood slopes down so much. See visibility throughout both of the mirrors, and they do come with blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rear, it's actually really easy to see as well. And then I noticed they kind of have these small windows at the front, which obviously will also help out the visibility. And wait, I already pressed the button, but anyways, you gotta press the drive button. And then let's go. Now, initially setting off here in the Sonata, let's talk about road noise and ride quality. In terms of ride quality, just going over these little things, it's really smooth. This is definitely on the higher end in terms of smoothness for a car of this size. And then in terms of road noise, I hear a little bit of tire noise, but overall the cabin, I would say, is pretty well insulated, again, for the size of car that this is. Now, coming up and taking a turn here, we can talk about steering. Super light, very, very light. I would say there's not a whole lot of steer, but it's very light and it's actually really direct. The steering wheel is smaller diameter, as you can see, so it has a very nice feel to it. I like the just overall feel of the steering wheel, and obviously we've got to pop it into sport mode for the acceleration. Before we accelerate here, if you notice, as I turn on my turn signal, there's a little camera there on the side, obviously, so it kind of has like a blind spot camera as well as blind spot monitoring. So this thing is just killing it with safety tech. Ooh, it's quick too. So in terms of acceleration, it actually gets up and goes very, very quickly. That 8-speed automatic gears down really quickly, and it's got more than enough power. This is not a very large size car, and so I mean, you're up and going. And I wonder if it does it for the other side too. Yeah, you get cameras for both sides on the turn signal, and I probably look like an idiot because I'm doing multiple turn signals, but yeah, this car is awesome. So let's sum things up on this Sonata Limited. What I'm gonna say right now is this car, I think, between the safety tech, that cool parking system, and just the overall driving experience, it's more on the comfort side than the sporty side for the driving, but it's still a quick car. I know it's $34,000, but you know, for everything that you get with this car, it is such a good package that I think this car might be the best one in its segment currently. I mean, it's got so many cool safety features. It has just so many features in general. It's just, the new Sonata is such an amazing car, and you have to check it out if you're in the market for a car like this. But there we have it, everyone. The 2020 Hyundai Sonata in the limited package with the cool little parking system. I've never used a car basically that has had that before, so it's pretty interesting detail on it. But anyways, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I will see all of you in that next video. Also, I forgot to mention, link in the description below to Ken Garff Hyundai in Southtown's inventory. If you're in the market for new Hyundai, obviously you can pick out this new 2020 Sonata if you're looking for one.